The Chinese medical industry has been rocked by a series of explosive scandals, fueling growing concerns that the country's pharmaceutical sector may be on the verge of collapse.
This is a drug used for several late-stage cancers, including ovarian cancer. It's been on the market for decades. It used to cost thousands of yuan per dose, but now it's still 100 yuan per dose. I tested it at Peking University, and the active ingredient in it is essentially zero. It's just water. Meanwhile, the imported drug from Scripus, which is made to the exact same standard, has the proper ingredients. Patients with late-stage cancer need life-saving treatments, and this drug's main component is worthless. The government has been cracking down on traditional Chinese medicine, partially because of concerns about poor quality and toxicity. But as a Western medicine expert, I can tell you, the problems in China's Western medicine sector are far worse than in traditional medicine. This drug, which costs several thousand yuan, is mass-produced in batches of 10,000, and there's so much corruption behind it. Many patients suffer, and they're already in the late stages of cancer.
One expert's revelations has caused a stir. A past investigation by the State Food and Drug Administration in Beijing found that over 80% of clinical trial data for new drugs was problematic, with some data even fabricated. Industry insiders confirm that this report is not surprising, as data manipulation is widely known but rarely addressed. The report has also exposed fraudulent practices across various levels of the medical field. Many scientists and pharmaceutical companies have been involved in hiding or deleting records of potential side effects and altering data. Even more troubling is that third-party auditing organizations, which were meant to review clinical trial facilities, have also become complicit. The report states, due to intense competition and economic incentives, they have fabricated data. This points to serious problems in China's pharmaceutical industry, leaving questions about the safety of drugs previously approved. Professor Li Ling from Peking University spoke about the dark side of China's medical industry. She said,
我们就是都装成病人，到各个医院去看病。
We've been going undercover at hospitals as patients for our research. What we've discovered is shocking. The public is completely taken advantage of. Every hospital is focused on generating revenue, competing for patients, and they often exaggerate minor illnesses and push unnecessary treatments. The extent of this practice is truly disturbing. She explained that many of the drugs used by Chinese people are safe but ineffective, essentially being optional medications with little practical benefit. For example, medical expenses in China now account for more than 40% of total healthcare spending. A study from Shanghai compared medication used in China with the US and European countries. For instance, in the UK, the average person in China spends about $300 a year on medications, similar to the UK. However, in the UK, life-saving cancer drugs are provided for free, while in China, these drugs are not covered by insurance and must be paid for out of pocket. The medications used in China are often ineffective, wasting money that could be spent elsewhere. Professor Li Ling continued,
人平均一年要看7次病，世界之最。
In China, the average person visits a doctor 7 times a year. That's the highest in the world. In developed countries, it's 3 or 4 times. Why is this? Because hospitals need to make money, and over-medication is the best way to do that. In China, if someone feels unwell, they have to visit several hospitals. In other countries, a common cold doesn't require a visit to the doctor. Just drink some water at home. But in our country, if a doctor tells a patient to go home and drink water, the hospital loses money. That's why, if doctors find a small nodule, they recommend surgery, even though it's often unnecessary. This only creates endless anxiety for the patients who think a nodule is a sign of cancer. In many cases, the nodule may disappear after some time. It's a normal phenomenon, but it's wasting precious healthcare resources. More importantly, it's harmful to the health of the people. Many patients are scared and their conditions worsen due to unnecessary treatments. Former CCTV anchor Zhao Pu commented on the dark side of China's healthcare industry. Why are medical costs so high and why is it so difficult to access them? After reading an article, it is clear that the reality is much worse than most people imagine.
为什么那么贵那么难？今天呢，看到一篇文章。
Money? Why is healthcare so expensive and so difficult to access? It's honestly beyond what most people can imagine. The author of the article is a doctor and anesthesiologist at a local hospital, and what she experienced shocked her too. While working at a top-tier hospital, she saw something shocking happen every day. Doctors were giving out medications like desosine and dexamethasone worth over 200 yuan per dose, but instead of giving them to patients, they would secretly discard the medications into the trash and pour the solutions down the drain. Every month, entire boxes of medications worth millions of yuan were wasted. You might find this hard to believe, but many people simply can't understand why anesthesiologists would waste these drugs. The hospitals spend a lot of money buying them from suppliers, so it seems like a huge waste. Why do they do this?
He explains that anesthesiologists are often focused only on making money. Since anesthetics are tied to kickbacks, the more they use, the more they earn. The problem is, a patient may only need 1 or 2 doses of anesthesia, but what happens then? These so-called smart anesthesiologists charge for more doses than necessary, which will then inflate the bill. For instance, if only 2 doses are needed, they charge for 6, discarding the extra. The practice is done openly with no attempt to hide it, even in front of external doctors, as anesthesiologists have become accustomed to it. This is a clear example of corruption in the medical system and the cost of kickbacks. Some doctors go to great lengths to use any procedure that involves kickbacks, whether it's drugs, materials, surgeries, or treatments, robbing both patients and the public healthcare system, which ultimately comes from taxpayers. Zhao Pu added,
你们以为就麻醉科这么干吗？
Do you think it's just anesthesiology? It's the same with departments like orthopedics or surgery. Some doctors will even throw away 9 out of 10 packs of bandages, using only one on a patient. Why? Because one pack is enough. And the ridiculous part is, many doctors don't even see this as a problem, because they've seen things far worse. Take the high kickbacks from heart stenants as an example. Some cardiologists would be happy to place more stenants than necessary. It's not about the patient's needs. It's about earning a few thousand yuan in kickbacks for each extra stenant. These anesthesiologist actions, though ugly, waste patients' money and healthcare funds. But they're not my biggest concern. At least they haven't harmed the patients' lives directly. What I truly despise are the doctors who not only want money, but are willing to risk the patients' lives. I'm talking about the unnecessary surgeries, like excessive treatments for cancer patients.
that the medical sector is rife with corruption, with countless practices that remain hidden. While the issue with anesthesiology is strange, it's just one small part of a much larger problem. Even this minor issue could lead to hundreds of thousands of dollars being wasted every month in a single hospital department. The total waste across the healthcare system is unknown, but it could add up to astronomical sums. He concluded,
The most frightening part of this story is the personal experience of an anesthesiologist from a local hospital. Being a doctor herself, she knew the most authoritative standard treatment for her sick mother was paclitaxel and carboplatin. She consulted gynecologists she knew, and they all agreed. But even at her own hospital, the gynecologist changed paclitaxel to liposmal paclitaxel, and when she went to the oncology department, it got worse. Carboplatin was switched to netaplatin, which is not recommended in the guidelines. Netaplatin is clearly inferior to carboplatin, even much worse. Why did this happen? Why did both the gynecologist and oncologist alter the treatment plans in contradiction to the guidelines? Even doctors' own family members are not being treated according to the standard guidelines. The answer is simple: money. Thankfully, this anesthesiologist had the resources to switch hospitals readily until she finally found one willing to follow the standard treatment protocol. It wasn't easy. Do you understand now? Many doctors, just for money, intentionally block patients from receiving the best treatment. They create obstacles in the proper medical care, hoping patients will follow the treatment plan that benefits the doctor financially. After reading this, it's really hard to stay hopeful. What kind of dark world are we living in? Who turned these white coat angels into demons? How can we change this situation? Is the power in our hands?
Some online commentators argue that the collusion between hospitals and pharmaceutical companies is draining the healthcare system, harming patients and causing psychological stress for pharmaceutical companies that once offered real solutions. This ultimately leads some to make dangerous decisions that result in their downfall. Horizon Health, a former leader in cancer screening in China, has recently been delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for failing to comply with relisting guidelines. Once valued at 40 billion Hong Kong dollars, the company is now near worthless. Behind its collapse lies a shocking financial fraud scandal, where the company fabricated test samples using public toilet waste and inflated its revenue by 90%, defrauding over 4,000 investors. The scandal began in August 2023, when Capital Watch, a US financial institution, published a report accusing New Horizon Health of systematic fraud. The report reviewed the company's actual sales in 2022 were only 70 million yuan, but it reported 765 million yuan, inflating the figures by 90%. The founder, Zhu Jiang, disclosed that his team initially planned to invest in New Horizon Health, but found 12 data discrepancies during due diligence. Over the next 16 months, they investigated hospitals, health centers, and e-commerce platforms, uncovering the company's fraudulent transactions. The investigation showed that the company had inflated its sales by pressuring distributors to stockpile products, booking expired items as sales, and faking contracts. They even bought public toilet waste from sanitation workers and passed it off as test samples. These samples were even split across multiple fake accounts. The company used third-party platforms to circulate funds over the guise of marketing expenses, creating a complete fraud network. When confronted, the founder Zhu Yeqing initially denied the accusations, calling the report deliberately misleading and accusing the report's authors of trying to extort PR fees. However, in March 2024, their longtime auditing firm, Deloitte, suddenly refused to sign off on their financial statements, questioning the authenticity of their sales and expenses. This decision effectively confirmed the allegations of fraud. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange immediately suspended trading, and the stock price plummeted to 14 Hong Kong dollars. Subsequently, the company's senior leadership underwent a shake-up, with the CFO resigning and Zhu Yeqing stepping down as the CEO. In February 2025, Zhu was even removed from his position by shareholders, with over 80% support. Founded in 2015 by three Peking University life sciences alumni, New Horizon Health specialized in cancer screening products. When it went public in 2021, it was valued at over 30 billion Hong Kong dollars and was considered a milestone in the industry. However, cancer early screening is a slow-growing business with limited market demand and low profits. The flagship product, Chai Wei-Qing, was priced at 1,996 yuan, not covered by insurance, and had limited promotion in public hospitals, offering no competitive advantage over the more affordable colonoscopies. The consumer market was also challenging. Industry experts noted that unless the public developed a strong awareness of testing, demand for such products would not grow. To break through, in vitro diagnostic companies needed to focus on R&D and cost reduction. Unfortunately, New Horizon Health opted for digital hype over real innovation, hastening its downfall. Various reports have indicated that after the company's delisting, more than 4,000 investors suffered significant losses. Securities firms like Everbright Securities and Bossera Fund downgraded their valuation 6 times, dropping from 14.1 to 0.01 Hong Kong dollars, resulting in a loss of over 700 million Hong Kong dollars. Due to its Cayman-registered Hong Kong-listed mainland China operated structure, investors faced difficulty pursuing cross-border legal action. Founder Zhu Jiang believes that New Horizon Health may become one of the biggest fraud cases in Hong Kong's capital market history. Analysts suggest that the root cause of New Horizon Health's delisting lies in its short-sighted strategy and insufficient R&D funding. They must have underestimated the market's response to early screening products or failed to get their product included in China's insurance system. The reality is that cancer early screening products conflict with the corruption chain within China's medical sector. If people use truly effective screening tools, they would likely avoid excessive treatments and the pharmaceutical waste in hospitals, something that is harmful to the deeply corrupt medical industry. Despite the high price, poor product development, and financial fraud, New Horizon Health's delisting is not just a huge loss for investors, it's also bad news for cancer patients. So, in the face of a corrupt medical industry in China, what options do vulnerable patients have? A recent experience shared by a vlogger may offer some insight.
Back in March and April this year, because I do live streaming, shoot short videos, and it drains my energy, my immune system dropped and I started having frequent heart attacks. I had 3 severe heart attacks. I went to one of the 5 largest hospitals in Guangzhou. The doctor told me to get a checkup. The result came back normal, but he said my condition was serious and that I should be hospitalized right away. He said, next Monday, we'll perform a surgery costing 20 to 30,000 yuan. I was under a lot of stress during those 5 minutes and said, I'm only in my early 50s. Then I called a good friend and switched to another hospital. I went to Guangdong Provincial People's Hospital, and the appointment with the specialist took 2 weeks. The doctor was very impatient, but I couldn't really blame him, since he had been seeing patients all day, without a break, from morning until 7 p.m. I asked him, do I have coronary heart disease? He said, whether you have it or not is not for you to decide, it's for me to decide. You can imagine the poor attitude and service.
The vlogger shared that the heart specialist asked him 7 questions. After the consultation, the doctor concluded it wasn't coronary heart disease. The vlogger then showed him a report from another hospital, but the doctor dismissed it and instead ordered tests for 4 additional indicators. This process took 2 weeks. After reviewing the results, the doctor confirmed the vlogger had no illness and sent him home. The vlogger asked, do I not need medication, hospitalization, or surgery? The doctor replied, none of that is necessary. The vlogger said that this was his experience with the top heart specialist of Guangdong province in 2025. After the checkup, the doctor said there was no problem, prescribed no medication, and charged only 300 yuan for the consultation. But then he explained to the doctor that he felt discomfort after working for just half an hour and suspected he had suffered a heart attack. The doctor's response was, you should rest more. He felt that Western medicine still couldn't provide the answers. The vlogger concluded,
I was lucky because I could figure out who could really help me. I found the traditional Chinese medicine practitioner I had only met once. This doctor said the problem was that I had stayed up too late before and after Spring Festival, and I had been shooting short videos. I would get so excited at night that I wouldn't fall asleep until 4 or 5 in the morning. After 2 months of this, my immune system was weak. When your immune system drops, your body temperature goes down. And with a low body temperature, your heart becomes uncomfortable. This discomfort comes from the fact that your heart has to work harder to maintain blood circulation. He treated me and made me better. So while Western medicine couldn't solve my problem, traditional Chinese medicine fixed it, and without costing me a penny. Now, 4 months later, I can live stream for 4 hours without any issues. So it's important to learn to think independently.
Another vlogger pointed out that traditional Chinese medicine was once highly advanced but differs from Western medicine in its approach. While much of TCM's essence has been lost, the techniques that remain can still treat conditions that Western medicine cannot. The issue today is that finding a good Chinese medicine practitioner isn't easy. With many options available, it's important to understand their background and reputation and the need to work out who is truly skilled.